An ancient Chinese myth says that the moon was created by a super developed human civilization. There are many myths about how the Earth, Sun, and Moon came to be. They're usually quite formal and associated with the activities of various sky gods, but in the Tang dynasty of 618 to 907 AD, Chinese book called Yu Yang Zazu, there is a rather strange story about how the moon appeared. During the reign of Wenzong, 809 to 840 AD, Wang Xiaokai and his younger brother Zheng Renben went to Mount Songshan and perished. They asked one who was resting by the side of the road for directions, asked where he was from. The man answered them with a laugh, "Dear gentlemen, do you know that the moon is made up of 7 treasures? The moon is like a ball. It is empty inside. The sun's radiation is reflected from its surface. It was created by 82,000 families, and I am from one of them," he said. Then he showed the travelers the right path and then disappeared from their sight. So, more than 1,000 years ago, in a Chinese book, there was already information that the moon itself does not emit light, but only reflects sunlight. How could they know it in those ancient times? Not only is this myth, in the myth, there is information that the moon was created artificially, there are also the words of a Christian hermit monk who spoke of his past life, which was hundreds of millions of years ago, and it assumed that then human civilization already existed and was much more developed than today. There was a Chinese hermit. Did I say Christian? No, he's a Chinese hermit monk. Now, he said that at that time there were great cities within very tall houses, and they were in all corners of the world, and giant ships in the air carrying thousands of passengers. And by the way, here you see on the right-hand side of the image, these are NASA images of structures on the moon. Very strange. Ruined things, artifacts. Now, thanks to advanced science and technology, these people once started thinking about creating an artificial celestial body, he said, that could illuminate the Earth at night. At the same time, the object had to shine not too brightly so that people could sleep, but at the same time, the light could sufficiently illuminate the objects. And when this seemingly unimaginable idea was mooted, it was supported by all strata of society, and then all of humanity was mobilized to realize the construction of a huge project. In that life, the previous one, the monk worked as an engineer and was directly involved in the construction of the moon, he claims. He said that inside the moon's core there are many precise gears, mechanisms, power equipment, and other devices, and there is nothing in the space between the moon's core and the shell. The outer layer is a protective shell of thick metal plates, several kilometers thick. After several years of continuous work, mankind has finally completed the construction of the moon, and the visible surface of the satellite was especially tuned to reflect sunlight at night and send it back to Earth. In order for the moon to shine continuously, its rotation speed was calculated in such a way that one side of it always faces the Earth, and it was this side that had formed, the other had not. All this world celebrated the day of the completion of the construction. The moon builders became the most respected group of people of that time and were glorified for a long time. However, later this developed society reached more collapse. As a result, this led to the shortage of material resources and major environmental problems, and when the Earth suffered greatly, human homes were destroyed and all their civilization was destroyed. The remnants of humanity had degraded into ape-like creatures. Moral collapse. So inferior demonic spirits began to be born, as is happening now. Many scientists have also repeatedly noted that the moon is more like an artificial object than a random cosmic body, randomly orbiting the Earth. And here is a list of some lunar oddities. 1. The diameter of the moon is exactly 1/395th of the diameter of the sun, and the distance between the moon and the Earth is exactly 1 to the 395th of the distance between the Earth and the sun. Because of this, the sizes of the Sun and the Moon visually appear to be the same from the Earth. Such a phenomenon is not typical for astronomy, and currently no second such phenomenon has been discovered in the observable universe. 2. The Moon always faces the Earth from the same side. In addition, the backside of the satellite is very different from what is visible on its highly irregular surface. If the Moon is a natural celestial body in the solar system, then this should not be the case. 3. The orbits of the natural satellites of the planets are unusually elliptical, while the Moon's orbit is almost circular with a radius of 380,000 kilometers. 4. The Moon is probably hollow or has huge voids. It has been repeatedly reported by scientists. Since 1969, the US has been sending spacecraft to the satellite for scientific missions. Seismographs were placed on the surface. One of the recorded lunar earthquakes lasted more than 55 minutes. Weak fluctuations gradually developed into the stronger ones. The maximum intensity was about 8 minutes. Then the amplitude gradually faded until everything calmed down. And all the time of the lunar earthquakes, there was some kind of continuous audible hum. The Moon rang like a bell, said Clive R. Neal, professor of geology at the University of Notre Dame in the US, in 2006 NASA report. Therefore, it's assumed that the inside of the Moon there is a hollow metallic crust, and its core is covered with a layer 16 to 32 kilometers thick. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.